Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our GoodWe Residential Hybrid Solutions. Uh, we have been doing a series of webinars since the beginning of the year, and we are very glad to have you. Today, we'll be going through our residential hybrid solutions, and specifically, we'll be focusing on the ES Unique and the Links A batteries, which we have currently introduced into the Kenyan market. Just a quick run through of how the webinar will be. The webinar will be run by myself, Oluwasegun, technical service engineer for East Africa, and also by Patrick Osiemo, pre-sales engineer for East Africa, who will do the bulk of the presentation. And we will start by doing a general introduction into the GoodWe company, a quick introduction. Then Patrick will delve into the specifics of both the inverter and the battery. In case you have any questions, we do encourage you to use the Q&A tab so that you can be able to see all questions so that are also able to answer them in time. Then we will have a Q&A session at the end. Therefore, don't feel free to just use the Q&A tab, and once we are at the Q&A session at the end, we will be able to answer your questions. Thank you, and we will now begin. So going into the company introduction, GoodWe is, of course, in the smart energy market as a manufacturer, and also giving a full solutions, which is the inverter, the battery, and also the BIPV. Our vision is to drive the world's smart energy future, and our main mission is to become a major driving force in the global energy transition. Looking at the GoodWe moments, which are our main moments since inception, you can see that the company was established in the year 2010, and we've had several milestones, which include establishing our overseas businesses. You can see we had Australia, we've had Europe, Asia, and also developing our R&D centers, being listed in the Shanghai Stock Exchange. And in Kenya, we are also established so that we can be able to assist in the local market, where we opened our support office in the year 2024. In terms of GoodWe awards, we've been able to get several awards from third party, which is to really cement that we are giving a good product. An example would be Wood Mackenzie for our residential hybrid. We've had on high energy efficiency, EcoVadis in the year 2022, which deals with the ESG topics. We've had Two Brainland, which deals with quality, and also the Red Dot design. Good product portfolio. We have a wide range, which include residential inverters from 700 watts to 30 kilowatt. These are inverters that do not have batteries. We have also the C&I from 25 kilowatt to 125. We have utility scale inverters in the ranges from 225 to 350 kilowatt. Going over to the energy storage, we have inverters from 3 kilowatt up to 100 kilowatt. We have lithium batteries, both low and high voltage. In the EV, we have the EV charger. We also deal with heat pumps and the BIPV, building integrated photovoltaics. In all this, GoodWe also offers a smart energy management systems so that you can be able to do remote monitoring. At this juncture, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Patrick Osiemo, who is our pre-sales engineer, to take us through the ES Unique and the Links A.
Thank you, Elvis.
As I said previously, my name is Patrick Osiemo, Technical Pre-Sales. I'll now take you to the main topic of the webinars, the residential single-phase inverter and the low-voltage batteries that are compatible with the inverter itself. So the inverter of the topic today is called ES Unique. It's a single-phase hybrid inverter. So it comes in 3 power levels, 8 kilowatts, 10 kilowatts, and 12 kilowatts. As you can see on your left, that's how the inverter looks like. And we'll be upgrading the inverter soon to also come on the screen. But in terms of functionalities, you can see the inverter is able to charge batteries up to the 240 amps. That is if you're taking the 12 kilowatt inverters. The inverter comes with a CT, clamp CT in this sense. It's part of the accessories. We'll have a look at the accessories as well. It's compatible with low voltage batteries. And with GoodWe, we do have 2 low voltage batteries that we manufacture. So we have Links A and the Links U. Links A is the indoor battery. Links U is the outdoor battery. More features that we'll come to see later on are just like the dedicated AC generator connection port. And I will come to take you through this in terms of connection and the lights. So part of the accessories when you're buying the ES Unique inverters are what you see displayed on you before you. We have a mounting plate. We have PV connectors for the strings. We have gaskets for cable terminations, cables going through before being terminated at the ports. We have expansion boards for mounting. We have communication cables for the battery. We have terminal lugs, screws, and pins. We also have a CT, clamp CT. And apart from that, we have a communication dongle. It comes with the inverter itself to ease on commissioning and setting it up online. We also have a lead acid battery that comes with the lead acid thermal sensor that comes to the inverter. That is in case you want to commission this inverter with the lead acid batteries. So lead acid, this comprises of the gel and the lights. Now, appearance of the inverter in this sense, you'll come to see that it's quite compact. As you can see the dimensions, it's quite compact, easy to mount, less drilling on the walls. You can see we only have 4 holes to drill, and the inverter, the mounting plate will be set to hold the inverter. So quite compact, quite elegant looking, and yeah, very easy to locate a mounting position for this inverter in the residence. Now, interaction-wise, we have the front part, which is basically LEDs to show you the status of the battery, status of the inverter. And at the back, this will be the mounting brackets, the heat sinks for cooling the inverter. And at the bottom, that's where you'll see the fans and the connection ports for the PV strings, for the battery connection cable for communication, also for the AC ports. So the inverter has 3 AC ports. 1 port is for the generator, the other port is for the grid, and we have another port for the backup, that is the critical loads. The parameters of the ES Unique are quite unique in this sense. As you can see on the battery side, I mentioned we're able to charge up to 240 amps. So we have the lowest 80 kilowatts outputting 160 amps. The 10 kilowatt will be outputting 200, and the 12 kilowatt will be outputting 240 amperes. The inverter is able to charge and discharge the battery at the inverter rating. So the 8 kilowatt can do 8 kilowatt to charge and discharge the battery, similar to the 12 and the 10, depending on the inverter rating. So also mark you the charging and the discharging of the battery, because ES Unique is also compatible with other third-party batteries. It depends on the battery itself. If it's capable of taking in that high power, then yes, the inverter will be able to charge and discharge the battery at these particular ratings. At the string inputs, you can see we are able to oversize the inverter to double the size. So on 8 kilowatt, you can do 16 kilowatt PV installation or connection. And the same goes across the board. So the 12 will be taking in 24 kilowatt PV installation sizes. The MPPT is quite powerful. You can see it's operating at 60 to 550 volts string voltages, and the startup voltage is very low. So 58 volts, that's enough to start up the MPPT, and generation will be beginning from 60 volts to 550 volts. So the early mornings up to the late evenings, the inverter will still be generating. The MPPT is also high power. You can see the current level, 16 amps per port. So each MPPT can take 32 amps. Yeah, and the short circuit, you can see is up to 24 per port, up to 48 per MPPT. So that's how high powerful and how unique is the ES Unique is. Contrary to other inverters, you can see the ES Unique is capable of doing DC to DC charging of the batteries. You can see on the left side, other inverters rated at 10 kilowatt. If they're oversized up to 20 kilowatt, at the output side of the AC, it can only output 7 kilowatt, and if it's enough to be generated, it outputs 3 kilowatt to charge the battery. So in total, it's actually outputting 10 kilowatt at max. Comparing that to the ES unit, which is actually maximizing on the PV for the self-consumption, 10 kilowatt inverter, if you oversize the PV to double the size of the inverter, a 10 kilowatt inverter can output 10 kilowatt on the AC side. And on the DC side, the same inverter is outputting 10 kilowatt to charge the battery. So basically, you are outputting power worth 20 kilowatt, so double the inverter rating. So that's the uniqueness of the GoodWe ES Unique. Now on the AC ports, now sensitivities on the AC ports, you can see the inverter is capable of handling AC grids from as low as 170 to as high as 280. So this is configurable during the setting up process. Similarly, on the frequency, this is also configurable. So it's handling 45 to 55 hertz maximum and minimum. It's able to output 10% additional power during the, let me say, ideal conditions and the inverter temperatures are low. The inverter is able to do a 10% more. So the 8 kilowatt can do 8.8, the 10 can do 11, and the 13 and the 12 can do 13.2 kilowatt. Output currents are high, so you can see 40 amps up to 60 amps. That's quite high in terms of power ratings. Now on the backup side, because Africa really likes to back up the whole house, now you can see the inverter is capable of withstanding inductive loads. So 16 kilowatts surges for 10 seconds, that is for the 8 kilowatt. And for the 12 kilowatt inverter, we can handle 24 kilowatts power surges for 10 seconds. So this just to give you confidence that if you have inductive loads in your house, the inverter is capable of handling surges to that level. Now on the AC part, I mentioned that we're able to connect to a generator AC. So depends on the generator, the inverter rating. So if we have the 8 kilowatts, as you can see, you're able to connect an 11 kVA single phase generator. And for the 12 kilowatt inverter, you can connect a 12 kVA generator. So because generators in terms of ages, they might be outputting voltage that are not that stable, similar to the frequency. Now this port is also can be configured to take in voltage as low as 170 to as high as 280 volts. For the frequency, same thing, voltage as low as 45 to, frequency as low as 45 hertz to as high as 55 hertz. Now, the 55 to 65, this is for the, the thing that's the American grid. It's using the 60 hertz. Now, Africa will be using the 50 hertz. So we are ranging between 45 to 55 hertz. Now, how the connection looks like. It's quite easy. So we have two options. The inverter itself comes with the CT. Now, if the position you're mounting your CT and the position you're mounting your inverter is less than 25 meters, then you can use the CT. Similarly, if the position you're mounting the CT and the position you're mounting your inverter is more than 25 meters, then you'll have to purchase a smart meter. Now the CT will be connecting to the smart meter, and then the smart meter will be pushing information using the Modbus protocol to the inverter for longer ranges. So up to 100 meters, it's capable to be achieved when you're using a smart meter. It has 3 AC ports, so we can support on-grid loads, backup loads, all the critical loads, and similarly, the generator can connect to the inverter itself. Now, because it's a hybrid inverter, you can see the strings also connecting to the inverter and the low voltage batteries also connecting to the inverter. Now, in case grid fails, the inverter can switch in less than 10 milliseconds to backup power, so power from the panels and power from the battery to supply the critical loads, the loads connected on the backup port. Now, if the battery state of charge is reaching a certain level, let's say 20%, the inverter is able to send a start signal to the generator, and the generator will pick up and supply power to the on-grid loads. Now, the same generator can also be used to charge the batteries. And when the generator is operating, the inverter is now capable of taking a number of functionalities. Now, apart from starting up and stopping the generator, it's able to prohibit the working times of this generator, establish, or you can set up the idle or the standby time of the generator, operating voltage frequencies. You can choose which capacity. You can set the capacity of the generator and the runtime settings. So that's the high level, let me say, control capability of ES unit with reference to the AC generators connected to it. The same generator port can be configured to become an output as well. So the generator port is being configured to handle big loads. So big loads, these are the loads that now draw too much power when starting up, or they just consume high amount of power. So with these big loads connected to that port, once you've reconfigured the generator port to become the big load or an output, those big loads can be turned on and off depending on various conditions. You can put time management on that. You can put it on as off-grid. You can set the loads to switch off in certain conditions. So they are very flexible on how you're going to power loads connected on the generator, or the big loads that are connected on the generator port. Now, scalability is also an important feature for GoodWe. And as you can see, there are various ways we can scale up the system. So for instance, we're scaling up inverters from 2 pieces up to maximum 16 pieces for single phase systems. And this first scenario is a scenario where the inverters share the batteries. So a common bus bar for the batteries and all the inverters connecting to the battery bus bar. Mark you, the only one inverter will be communicating to the BMS, and the inverter connected to the BMS of the battery is actually the master inverter that will be also controlling the rest of the inverters that are in the daisy chain. So the inverter which is a master is the inverter which you will be plugging in a special dongle or a communication module called the EasyLink module. Once that is plugged into the inverter, that inverter automatically becomes the master, and the rest becomes the slave reporting to the master inverter. The master inverter similarly monitors the incoming grid line using the CTs or the smart meter to prevent export or to check in how much you're consuming from the grid itself. So this is the first scenario. If you're connecting 3 pieces of the ES unique, then you'll be achieving the less than 10 millisecond UPS level switching. If you're doing 4 pieces to 16, then your switching time will be the EPS. That means there will be a delay when the grid fails and the inverter is switching up to the backup mode. So less than 10 milliseconds is actually no loads will be switching off for the backup loads. They won't switch off in case the grid fails. Now, if you're mounting inverters in different locations, this is also possible. In this sense, each inverter with its own battery. And similarly, you can parallel from 2 pieces to the maximum of 16 pieces. And yeah, just the same working topology, master-slave topology. We have a master inverter controlling the slave inverters, and the master inverter also monitoring the incoming lines from the grid. Compatibility with GoodWe, we have a number of batteries. For example, we do have an outdoor battery called the Lynx U. It's a 5.4 kilowatt hour battery, and you can parallel to as much as 6 pieces for the outdoor version. So the inverter being an outdoor and the battery also being an outdoor. We are also offering a new battery, launching a new battery into the market. It's an indoor battery called Lynx A. I'll be speaking on it in the next coming slides. Two versions of it. We have the generation 1 and we have the generation 3. The specs I'll also be talking about what puts apart the two versions, the Lynx A Gen 1 and the Lynx A Gen 3. Now in scaling up, the Lynx A Gen 1, we can do up to 15 pieces. And for the Lynx A Gen 3, you can do up to 30 pieces parallel to scale up your systems. And on that note, I will be taking you through the Lynx A lithium-ion battery. And that's how it looks like. So two versions. The upper one will be the Lynx A Gen 1, and the lower one will be the Lynx A Generation 3. So each battery, each module is 5 kilowatt hour, and the Gen 1 can be parallel scaled up 15 pieces to do 75 kilowatt hour. The Gen 3 can be scaled up to 30 pieces to do 150 kilowatt hour. These batteries charge and discharge at high currents. I'll be talking on the have a look at the data sheets later on. They're safe and reliable because they're actually using lithium-ion technology. GoodWe is also capable of remotely upgrading and diagnosing the battery. So upgrading the firmware and the lights and also diagnosing the battery remotely. And yeah, they are largely scalable. So that's the Lynx A Generation 1 and the Lynx A Generation 3. So the interactions part, well, LEDs at the front to give you the state of charge, the status, whether it's the battery is having an alarm or it's running correctly. We have a start on-off button. We have the ports for connecting the DC cables. We have the ports, communication ports for daisy chaining and as well as communicating to the inverter. Yeah, and you can see the battery is actually quite sizable, so easy to fit in terms of mounting as well. Now I'll start with the Gen 2. So with the Generation 3, these are the specs. So the battery itself is a 1.5C. So a 5 kilowatt hour battery can support up to 7.2 kilowatt of load in terms of charging. The same 5 kilowatt can also support 5 kilowatt load, not charging, not in terms of charges, but constantly 5 kilowatt load. And when you scale up, it's just a matter of adding up the power capability of this battery. So it's an indoor battery, able to charge and discharge at high currents, operating at very low temperatures, as low as 0 or well, depending on whether it's charging or discharging, and up to 50 degrees when charging or discharging. The warranty is actually 10 years. And if, in case I didn't mention this before, if you're using the GoodWe ES Unique inverter and the battery itself, GoodWe Lynx A battery, the battery comes with an automatic 10-year warranty. Well, the inverter comes with a standard 5 years warranty. But when you install them as a GoodWe combination, that is the GoodWe inverter and the GoodWe battery, automatically your inverter's warranty gets promoted to 10 years. So you get 10 years warranty on the inverter, 10 years warranty on the battery. Yeah. So moving back into the battery, we have around trip efficiency of up to 95% and the discharge cycle of more than 5,000. So the battery will last. Now with the Generation 1, this is a 0.6C. So a 5 kilowatt hour battery can withstand a maximum draw of power or discharge of up to 3 kilowatts maximum. So we scale these up depending on the number of batteries. The Lynx A Generation 1 can do 15, Generation 3 can do 30.
pieces to scale it up. Then apart from that, most of the specs are quite similar, apart from the discharging rates. So IP21, cabinet mounted, floor stacked. The battery comes with a bracket, 95% round trip efficiency, over 5,000 discharge cycles and the likes. The battery is also tested to certify its uh, in transporting conditions and other, let me say, testing codes or international testing standards that verify that the battery works okay and it's safe for use. So how do you mount the Lynx A battery? So it's quite simple. The battery will come with a bracket, and that's how the bracket looks like. It also comes with a stamp just for weight distribution. So you just remove the hangers, plug in the bracket at the front, and then one at the back, and then yeah, repeat the same. So that's how easy it is to mount the GoodWe battery. So in terms of how high you can stack, you can only do up to 6 pieces, but it's only 6 because of the weight restriction on the bracket itself. So you do 6 pieces stacked up, then you start another rack on the side, maximum height or maximum number, going vertically will be 6 pieces as well. So that's the maximum height you can do, show the maximum numbers you can reach. Connection wise, you can't connect the battery to the inverter without GoodWe does come with a battery combiner box. So the first option, or for the market sensitive, you can't connect the battery to the inverter without the combiner box. So that's the connection scenario. Just paralleling the batteries and the communication and the last battery having a terminal resistor, the inverter communicating with the first battery in the loop. And just to be on the safe side, we ensure that the batteries are actually grounded, similar to the inverter. If you're using the GoodWe combiner box, that's how the combiner box looks like. It gives you a number of ways of paralleling your batteries. So you can see uniquely, we are grouping batteries in smaller parallel capabilities. So I'm grouping them in terms of 2. So more lines of the negative cable, more lines on the positive cable as well. So why we're doing this is just so the battery charging and discharging is balanced. So no battery will be discharging more than the rest or charging more than the rest. So that's why we are offering the battery combiner box. It's actually a good technical advice or feature to install your batteries in this sense. So our battery combiner box, 2 versions. We have the BCB11, which can handle a maximum of 360 amps, and BCB22, which can handle a maximum of 720 amps. And if you're scaling your system or your storage to higher levels, let's say 15 pieces, 30 pieces of Lynx A, then you can use a third party, make your own bus bar, connect the DC cables to this bus bar, and now, yeah, the communication will be looping from the first battery all the way to the last with the terminal resistor on the last battery. Yeah, so it's also possible to use the inverter without a bus bar. And for the after sales part, I think Elvis will also be helping in case you're using this kind of connection without the bus bar, how you're going to short the, let me say, the communication cable from the battery to the inverter so that you get your high power discharge enabled during the operation. So that actually sums up the presentation for the residential hybrid inverters. So for the last send off, thank you for joining the training. We're all doing more trainings on this, also doing in-person trainings in our office here at One Padmo, Kilimani. So feel free. We'll also be issuing out the in-person trainings. So in terms of pre-sales, I will be doing the webinars for the online GoodWe design tool, which is free. And yeah, just to take you through how easy it is to set up a GoodWe system. For example, the ES Unique and the Lynx A, and simulate the whole thing to get your earnings and the anticipated return on investment. So happy to have you attending. So and have a good day. Thank you.